for the deplorable conduct of these members of the Catholic Church.
E vorrei dirvi di tutto cuore, sono molto addolorato. E mi unisco ai fratelli vescovi canadesi.
I ask for God's forgiveness, and I want to say to you with all my heart, I am very sorry, and I join my brothers, the Canadian bishops, in asking your pardon.
The Pope's words, I am so sorry, he said. We are joined by NDP MPP and opposition critic for Indigenous and Treaty Relations, Saul Mamakwa, who is a residential school survivor, and Lorraine Whitman, president of the Native Women's Association of Canada. I want to thank you both for being here in what is no doubt an emotional day for you both and your families and the greater community. So thank you. Sol, I want to start with you. The residential school experience for you is not a century ago. It is recent. You attended a residential school as a teen only about 20 years ago. When you heard the Pope say, I am very sorry, how did you feel?
Christina, there's a number of things that go through your mind, rage, sadness, relief, and hurt, but also, relief of, a little bit of relief, a little bit of hope that there is change coming, and that, I think what we heard is like, I don't know what to say, a seed of reconciliation, something that, is a change that's coming, but then again, words are words. Mm-hmm. We need to be able to see action behind those words.
Well, and that is, when we talk about truth and reconciliation, the reconciliation suggests action. That's what it means. And so, your hurt and your pain as a residential school survivor, many people, many people won't ever be able to understand. But does some of that hurt and frustration come from that it took, 6 years from when the Truth and Reconciliation Commission came out with the recommendation that there be a papal apology, and there had been an expression of, sorrow and sadness from the church, but it took Indigenous peoples several years. It was 165 or so years of residential schools in Canada, traveling all the way to Rome, a week of meetings for the Pope to say, I'm so sorry. Does that hurt the effort involved in this?
We have to understand that a lot of us, intergeneration, as First Nations, a lot of, intergenerational trauma from the Indian residential school has become a way of life. Mm-hmm. We see it in our communities, we see it in our families today, and we see it in the systems that are there, whether it's a correctional system, whether it's the child welfare system. But I think, the question I ask myself is, sometimes why are we the ones reconciling, the work of reconciling? And I think it should be the Vatican that should be reconciling with us and not the other way around. So, I hope, when he comes to Canada, he comes to Indigenous people to come and ask for forgiveness. The sooner the better.
Mm-hmm. Saul, thank you so much. I think you make a great point there. How often does someone have to travel to the home of the wrongdoer, as one Indigenous activist said, to seek an apology? We'll come back to you, Saul, in just a moment. Lorraine, I want to get to you. When you heard, I am very sorry, how did you feel?
First of all, I have to commend, all of the delegates that had gone over. These are very brave people that, they're in the process of healing from the residential schools. It's a stage of mourning that they've gone through. And each and every one of them, I realize that they're going to be bringing back that hope and, the pain that they've endured during this time. And, we have to commend, because it's the residential survivors that are at the forefront, and we can't forget that. And for them to go, to a different country and to speak to the Holiness and ask him for an apology, for the forgiveness of what he has done to us, it takes so much effort and energy on them. And my prayers and thoughts have gone out to them. But I do hope that, this is one step, for reconciliation. And it has been, what, 50, call 58 for the Pope to apologize. But for our people to go there and ask for an apology, it's still, when he comes to Canada, then I will be able to give a better idea of an apology. And he has to make sure that it's not just one place in Canada, because the Indigenous people have been hurt with the pain, and they're still living with that pain. And he has to go to different places in Canada. So when he comes and apologizes to the Indigenous people in our country, then will I have a better feeling and opinion of what's happening through reconciliation.
And Lorraine, thank you for saying that. Thank you for commending those who went. The comment I was referring to, it was by, and I'm sure you're both very familiar with her. She is an activist. She's a professor, Cindy Blackstock. And she said, "I honor those who went. I am sad they had to go. The best apology is changed behavior." And this is what you're saying as well, Lorraine. So thank you for touching on that. When we talk about moving forward and the actions, Saul, how does any of what you heard today contribute to the journey of healing for you? I mean, there's so many emotions, as you expressed it, involved in all this.
Well, the emotions are there, and they'll always be there because it is part of their healing process. It's unfortunate that, again, that the Indigenous people had to go to the holiness and say, we deserve an apology, because it's only a few of the delegates that have gone. And, I do pray that the apology is worked and is part of their healing. And again, I do commend all of them that have gone, because I can't emphasize enough what they've gone through. And as Sol had mentioned, the intergenerational trauma that has affected, our children today, our grandparents, even us and our children, and even the remains of our children. Canada as a whole is awakening to what's been done to the Indigenous people and to our children. And the Pope needs to come here and to be able to apologize to our people. And then I would see that step of reconciliation. And, all of the documents need to be given to us. We've seen some of the artifacts that are there in Rome, and they should be given back. And that's part of the step of reconciliation. And, reparation, we need that as well. We need that for our healing.
Lorraine, thank you so much. I'm going to get back to you on that note. I want to get back to Saul for just a moment. For you, this is personal. For Lorraine, this is personal. For your families. Saul, how does this apology contribute to the journey of healing for you? Because you noted this intergenerational trauma. This doesn't end here. This won't end for generations. Really, the pain continues.
Certainly, I think there's some type of immediately some type of healing initiative that needs to happen. That's for sure, because I think since the 215 from Kamloops, I think we were aware that there's so many things that need to happen. Like, one of the things is the paper bowl needs to be revoked from the paper bowl from 1493. I think our people have never been barbaric, or we were never savages, and I think that's one of the things that need to happen. And I think one of the things too is to be able to release the names and the nuns and who abused our children.
Yeah, I want to actually quickly, before we run out of time, and thank you, Saul, for saying that, ask Lorraine about the call your organization is making to have the perpetrators of the crimes at the residential schools, the government and the churches that ran the institutions, be declared criminally responsible for the deaths of the children who were in their care. Where does that call stand now?
Well, exactly. There needs to be justice that needs to be done. And we've noticed in the various institutions through justice, child welfare, and so on and so on. There needs to be some repatriation, reparation that needs to be given. The doctrine of history needs to be changed again. And we weren't savages. Certainly not. And we have so much, but we have been broken, and we're broken people. We're hurt people. And we need to be able to heal. And this part, as I had stated before, is the first step to reconciliation. And until he comes to Canada and apologizes to our people on his time, on his dollars, because our people had to go there and ask him to tell the truth and for forgiveness, he should be here in person.
And we understand from delegates that may happen within the next year. I have to leave it there. Saul, Lorraine, thank you so much for speaking to us on what is no doubt a challenging, painful, emotional day for you all. Please take good care of yourselves. Thank you for sharing your comments with us tonight.
Well, thank you
both.